this is the start of the first episode of Bill and Steve's Excellent Adventure.
This is true.
A name
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Might be episode 3. Probably episode 1.
Honestly, it might be episode not aired because we'll be like, we had some ideas, but we need to redo that now. Bill, should I call you Bill on this?
I think for this, yes.
This is Bill. Okay,
which will make it weird, but yeah.
Can we go with? Can we go with your birth certificate name for the other video series we're doing?
We can.
So it's very confusing.
Yeah, I like that.
If you could just have a different name for everything that you do. People are like, his last name is either Beats or Thompson or Gunn.
Random.
You're still Nick Gunn in my phone.
That's amazing.
So as the sands of time drop down, slowly drawing us both closer to death, we have some art and pop culture to talk about. Look at that.
I don't like having things in my pockets.
You are unloading it. What do you got there? You got a wallet, you got a phone, and
these are my dailies, yeah.
This
wallet.
What is that?
AirPods.
Yeah. See, I'm sorry. I'm still from a generation era that's just like, hey, the cord is not a problem. Wait.
The cord is absolutely a problem.
It's not a problem.
It's absolutely a problem.
Okay, I will say that the Apple iPod cord or iPhone cords, definitely a problem.
It's a problem.
But the cord is not that big of a problem. But more importantly, you know what is a big problem? Having to use Bluetooth to sync it to my car stereo. Do not like that. I like the aux jack.
Okay.
For that. And you can get the adapter, the USB-C adapter to the aux jack thing.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity because that just stays plugged in my car, right? Yeah. Like you're not going to need to move that. And so I like the convenience of it because it doesn't use any battery.
Yeah.
I'm probably already plugging my phone into my car
for power. Okay.
So I'm already in a plug-in place.
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing. The losing of or the loss of. The other thing is that it's less bad now because if you lose the earpods, well, guess what? There's $12 ones you can get.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Now it was real bad at the beginning when it was just like there's this one and you can pay another $40 to $60 for them if you lose them.
Yeah. I will say though that they only last for I've had them for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And they only last for about 45 minutes now before you have to plug them back in and charge them.
Arguably,
the case itself is a charging station.
Okay.
So the case will last for weeks without having to plug it in. So you just plug the earbuds back in. And if you plug the earbuds in for 15 minutes, you get a 30-minute play out of them. So
that's fine, but it's not
airplane friendly.
No, I don't like that.
No,
and
it's a good brisk walk.
It means basically that you have to get a separate set of Bluetooth earphones for long play.
Yeah, and that's
what's going on.
Which I'm already on the verge of getting that.
Well, obviously, because you drive in traffic and 30 to 45 minutes when you have your earbuds into your ears for some reason instead of Bluetooth while driving. Like the cops like.
Yeah.
Can you not hear the road around you in any way, shape, or form? Thank you. So as we continue to discuss the feature creep of Bluetooth technology on Bill and Steve's Excellent Adventure,
it's within theme. It's within theme within the last 30 minutes of us deciding the theme.
We've always known that this had a very deliberate thing, which is deeply talking about the slow death of Apple, thusly the sands of time.
Yes.
The slow death of Apple. I mean, Samsung, which means Android in general, is abandoning the aux jack, the audio jack as well. Finally.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. There's nothing. What I love about this is there's not it's but this is really holding us back from nothing.
No, it is having the jack.
Mm-hmm.
So its biggest issue with it, obviously, is the amount of space it takes up within the case, but that's whatever. Yeah. The biggest issue, though, is once they remove that, then waterproof becomes way easier.
That is true. Because
then all you have is your power, and they're pretty much able to waterproof the power based on the connection.
Yeah, because of the connection for USB-C.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, though, we live in the future. and
we have no reason to ever get in water.
Whereas I don't mind a phone that's water resistant.
Yeah.
If I have submerged my phone in water and not like dove in hand first, I don't know why I'm not bobbing for phones.
I feel like there was a time
bobbing for apples.
There was a time where people used to get thrown into pools. But now everybody has a cell phone in their pocket. I don't think it happens as often.
Every time I see that in a modern thing, I'm like, that guy's cell phone is super ruined.
Yeah.
What a dick. This isn't the 80s.
Yeah, right.
This isn't the 80s. Where even if he had a cell phone, it'd be a flotation device, and it's fine because it's made of pure uranium, so it will work no matter what.
Exactly.
And he'll just get head cancer. So what were we going to talk? Oh, we were going to talk about the thing. So if you had 2 sentences to sum up the well-planned Bill and Steve's Excellent Adventure, a name that we've been working on for months for this. If you had 2 sentences to sum up what this is, how would you sum it up, Bill?
I could sum it up in 2 words.
2 words.
Separated by
1 conjunction.
Another word.
I swear to God, if you say it, I'll reach over and punch you.
Netflix and chill.
I knew you were going to say that. No. Do you have a real answer? I actually thought about this on the drive over.
You go ahead. You answer. Because I've not thought about this.
So,
only 2 sentences though.
Everyone in life has an information debt that is hard for them to pay back themselves, and we all need a little help, and that's why you and I are here. In your case, your information debt is various pop culture things that you should just know or be into based off of your personality type and your interests, and the fact that you don't have kids. So there's like no excuses, like I'm too busy with those kids, so I can't go to the cinema. And then for me, as in fact a hip hop MC, albeit nerdcore, but still a hip hop MC, I might not have the depth of hip hop knowledge that one should expect of me. Not would expect of me. You look at me and you're like, that guy doesn't know anything about rap music. But and they're not wrong. That's not wrong. Yeah, and so I think that's what this is. It's us helping to fill in each other's information gaps and debts and get each other excited about things that we want to be excited about. I want to know more about hip hop. I want to listen to more hip hop that doesn't just sort of like naturally fall in my lap from my existing things. And you being a person that has produced many songs, songs for me, just a few,
just a couple,
and will unfortunately for you produce many more.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. We'll find out. It's just mixing and mastering now. You don't have to make the beat. So that's the best part.
That's the worst part. Making the beat portion.
Oh yeah, before I've ruined it, right? Yeah. Like that's the part that's the hardest for you is the untouched clean beat. But then having to like wedge my fucking Muppet vocals into a trap beat, you're like, I got that.
Pretty much everything is going perfect, and then you are on
and then I'm on the track, and then it's waylaid.
Derailed.
It's waylaid. So I want to do that. And I want you to be able to at least feel like you have context, especially since you move in a lot of regular hip hop circles, but a lot of like geek culture, since the people that you know are nerds and fans and fan culture people, you move that. And then culture more and more just kind of expects each other to know these things in a lot of ways, especially again, if you don't have kids or like a 60, 70 hour a week job that kind of like, it's like, well, that's of course you haven't seen these Marvel films. Why would you have? Yeah. You're busy trying to make humans not die and instead, grow to the Best Buy date of adulthood. And so I think that's what this is, or at least it is for me. And so who wants to start? Would you like to start? Would you like me to start?
I think you start.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to start with what we've kind of prepared. I don't have a quantity of these. I'm just going to kind of go off the top of my head of what I've been involved with in the last week or so.
Okay.
And it will be however many it is, and I'm sure later we'll come up with some sort of limiter. So this is actually going to be a little bit Amazon Prime heavy.
Which nobody uses.
Oh no, nobody. Amazon is not.
I'm willing to pay for Amazon Prime, but I'm not willing to watch their TV.
It's sad because their TV has gotten quite good.
I mean, I go into it and I look at it, and then I'm like, this UI is terrible.
It is the worst UI. I will say that I have not come up with an interface yet for Amazon that I think is even remotely successful. No. And it's because of their resistance to mimic Netflix. Now, not to say that Netflix UI hasn't gotten much worse over the years, because it absolutely has.
Yeah.
But because we all know the most effective UI is category, grid of thumbnails.
Yeah.
And then if it's a television series, the thumbnails for the whole of the series. Mm-hmm. And then on the left-hand side, you have something that selects the season and then the list of episodes. And a play button. This all is still consistent in the Netflix thing. This works
not in Amazon though.
No. Amazon's like, I'm gonna give you a thumbnail for each part 1. Season 3, part 1.
Here's 5 other shows that are similar. Oh, here's season 6.
Here's season 6. You can't find season 1 on this search.
No.
You got to go into season 3. And then what's weird is you go into season 3, then you can go to seasons, pick a season, and pick your up. And so you're like, why are you breaking it up to someone? I think it's to make them look like they have more content than they did, which back in the old days with Amazon, super important. Now, not as much. I think they're doing it. But we're going to start with Undone. Undone is an animated series, but it's rotoscope animation. Are you familiar with that term?
No.
So rotoscope means you take the film, or in this case, the digital output, and you animate on top of it, right? Okay. So classic rotoscoped films. There was the Philip K. Dick movie, which it would have been great if I knew the name of the movie. There were pieces of heavy metal were rotoscoped. Pieces of or a lot of Ralph Bakshi stuff. So American Pop was rotoscoped. Wizards was rotoscoped, and you always know it because people like everyone in the animation looks like very realistic in shape and proportion, but like they're made of socks. Because the lines aren't the staticness of reality, right?
Yeah.
And everything, and so they do that for a good reason, and it's something that I've always been interested in. But to synopsize it, it's about a young woman that's having some trauma and mental issues. It's science fiction-y because those issues lead to sort of a heightened sense of manipulating time, or maybe she's just having some sort of disassociation with reality, schizophrenic episode, something like that. And there's a Bob Odenkirk is in it, which is always weird because Bob Odenkirk stopped doing like normal things a long time ago. And it's a weird indie thing, but it's beautiful. It's a little hard to watch because it's a lot of real hard hitting emotions. It's not a comedy. It's not lighthearted.
Okay.
But the reason I highly recommend it is because they do something that music video creators and animators and a lot of people inherently understand or deliberately understand, which is it's easier to do crazy effects when you're just drawing outside of reality, when you're just no longer having to make it look real. We're not all Christopher Nolan with massive $150 to $350 million budgets and giant teams of computer animators and designers. And so because they want the altered reality state and the looping and the time looping and the strange transitions and everything, well, that's a lot easier to do when you're drawing things. So it means that it's all filmed live and probably pretty cheaply because they don't have to worry about lighting and everything as much. And then animated over just to give it that sense of reality, but also that sense of altered reality. It works really well for it, and it's one of the recent move of Amazon Prime to be like, so I know we kind of just made things for a while, but now we're making really good things that Netflix and HBO aren't making anymore.
Yeah.
They're not trying for this tone. They're not trying for these things. And we will. It means that there's more value to that streaming service, which is not like we needed it. It's not like anyone has time, but but it means that they're worthwhile things. So I'm always glad to see it, and of course, as a fan of animation. But it's gonna win awards. It's gonna win animated awards. It might win Best Original Screenplay awards. I'm not sure if it's gonna win any acting awards. It's kind of hard to see the acting through the rotoscoping sometimes.
How new is this? Is this recent?
This is within the last couple weeks.
Okay.
So it just came out. So its awards season will be 2020.
Okay.
Or like 2020 is when we'll see announced a lot of awards, or late in 2019, and it'll win at least artistic awards like film, Directors Guild or Screen Guild type awards, SAG awards. But it'll probably win some sort of television prestige award along the same lines of BoJack Horseman in its first season, when everyone was just like, "Oh my God, animation can be just this sad all the time." Yes, it can. You can have a horse head make you sad. But yeah, do watch it. It will make you artistically a better person for watching it. And without giving anything away in it, it lands all the way through the series, and it's not long. It's half-hour episodes, right? And I believe it's 10.
Okay.
So it's not like it's this drag.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not 16 episodes that are 40 minutes long a piece, and you're like, who has time for that anymore? Is this a 97? I have internet to do. And I have unlimited hours from AOL these days. Unlimited hours.
I have so many CDs collected.
I have so many CDs. No one wants them anymore. I haven't paid for them in years.
It's 14-day trials. Just keep going.
So that's my first thing.
Okay.
Billiam, what's your first thing?
Do you want to do 3 of them?
I'll do 3. I can do 3.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna jump from that to The Boys. Also Amazon Prime. Although less about that and more about it being anything related to superhero television. As you know, it doesn't matter how bad it is or how not for me it's supposed to be. I've seen all of Cloak and Dagger. I've seen The Runaways, both seasons on Hulu. I've seen all of Legends of Tomorrow on CW, arguably the dumbest. It's fun to watch, but it's dumb. All the CW shows, all of Gotham. It doesn't matter how bad it is.
Did Batman ever show up in Gotham?
Well, in the way that Bruce Wayne's in Gotham, yeah. But does he ever put on the cape and cowl, you ask?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird if they took a series where Bruce Wayne starts at 10 or 11 and they somehow have Batman in the cape and cowl? Wouldn't that be arguably and almost objectively bad writing, Nick? Nick, you want to guess what happened in the last episode of Gotham?
Well, didn't Joker become Joker? Wasn't that the end of the last season? I have not watched a single episode of this, so I have no idea the structure.
No, I'm not going to turn this into a conversation about Gotham. Yes, you see Bruce in the fucking outfit, and it's fucking terrible because he's 16 or 17.
Good.
Yes, there's a Joker parallel on the show that sort of becomes a version of the Joker.
Yeah.
And everything. But this is about The Boys.
Okay.
So The Boys is along the lines.
Is Batman in this as well?
Batman is not in The Boys.
I'm lost. You lost me already. No Batman, no watch. That's pretty much that's my structure.
That's it.
Yeah.
It has to have Batman. So you're gonna watch the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, because not only will it have one, it will have 2 Batmans in
even
it.
Better.
Because
even
Infinite
better.
Earths. One of which is not Bruce Timm, Kevin Conroy. The voice of Batman from Batman the Animated Series, which we all love.
Yeah.
He is actually playing an aged Batman as a live action actor.
Amazing.
In that. And Mark Hamill's also supposed to be in it. No one's confirmed if he's going to play a version of the Joker.
I'm sure he will.
I would hope so, but he's also already been in the CW universe as the Trickster, which was a reboot of his character from the 90s Flash series. And so what they did is they had that be they took clips from that, and that was real crimes he was doing back in the 90s. And then in the modern Flash series, he comes out and breaks out of prison, and they deal with the Trickster's son and everything like that, him.
Yeah.
And then the actor who plays Flash's dad in the Okay, we've gone way off. I bumped the mic. That's how off point we were. The Boys.
The Boys.
This is not one of
No
my
Batman.
Steve discusses comic books. The Boys. So The Boys is, of course, a comic book adaptation, and the whole point of it was like a late 90s, early aughts, professional alarm. Let me power this. Not power it off. Yeah. This will
bring it down to reality.
Bring it back down. Bring it back down to the real world.
Do you not have your phone on vibrate at all times?
I have my phone usually on silent at all times, but alarms, of course, break through that.
Yeah.
I forgot that I had a 9:30 alarm.
That was the time that you wanted to make sure this was over so you could go home.
No.
We're doing pretty good.
We're doing okay.
Quarter way through. Based from the sand people.
From the sand folk. Based from our new age analog version of a digital clock.
It's the type of clock that animals can even watch and understand.
They're like, eventually all those sands are going to be on the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's the time I need to go shit in your bed. Anyway, so The Boys is an adaptation from a late 90s. I think it technically came out in 99, but maybe 2000. Early aughts. Kind of take on a Justice League, but like, what if it were real thing? Because that became very popular in the late 90s and early aughts. Like, let's do some we'd already grittied things up with Batman, right? In the 80s and then through the 90s and with the X universe and stuff. So it's like, what if like the Justice League, but like with human failings and everything like that thrown into it? And it is a phenomenally done superhero series. As a person that's read the first 2 trades, and then stopped reading because honestly, the trades, well, interesting. There are better versions of that aren't as puerile and icky by today's standards. They're great pieces for when they were written, but looking at them in the lens of 2019, you're like, oh no. And so when they were doing The Boys, I'm like, oh man, I hope they take a strong hand with adjusting a handful of things to make them less blunt or less shock for shock value. And they did, which is weird because Seth Rogen's the executive producer and you wouldn't be prepared for that, but he's got a pretty keen sense on this.
Okay.
And he also does the executive producing for Preacher on AMC, which is another comic adaptation.
Yeah.
That had a slow first season, but got lots better in the second season.
I think I saw the first episode of that.
It's very AMC, the first season, where it's just super slow. And you're like, this is cool, but like, this isn't the comic. And then they get it to the comic, and you're like, okay. But yeah, The Boys is really good. It discusses victimization pretty well. It discusses the dangers of celebrity and corporate investment in pure things or things that are meant in theory to be pure. It's got good twists. It's 8 episodes, which I think was the right choice for the first season because it meant that it didn't have a slowdown. It just kept building in its action pace or building in its tension, I should say, pace. And
hour-long episodes?
What?
Hour-long episodes?
Yeah, they're like 45 to 50 minutes, right? Yeah. And everything. But that allows them to have that good clip. It's not that shows can't be 10 or 13 episodes and be that length. It's that's a harder sell.
Yeah.
And usually better if you have like a kind of a half plot and then another shift plot. And you'll see that actually technically happens in a lot of those shows. And you're like, oh, writers really like writing about 6 hours of story content. That works for their rising and falling action and a climax. And so this allows it to have the 8 episodes sort of turn and reveal enough together. And it ends on a real good, like, oh, I want to watch next season kind of moment. It's funny because they dodged it being fairly low budget, even though it's a superhero show. It doesn't look as cheap as the CW shows because they just don't show a lot of the superhero stuff in a very significant way.
Yeah.
That's not what the show's about, so it doesn't have to have it. Like, you know that there's the Superman analog can fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes. And they show that in a couple scenes, but it's not in every episode. You know that they're super strong and everything. And again, couple scenes.
Yeah.
The one they play the most with is the guy who's called Translucent. He's the person with the invisible powers, which I don't think he's actually in the comics.
That's a pretty easy one to film.
But yeah, and so that was a smart play, right? They did the same thing with the Speedster, because Speedsters are easy to film because you can just speed up them in the frame or do some CG blur and then do some wind effects in the shot.
Gotcha.
And everything. But yeah, they don't cheap out on anything that they show, but they show so little that it allows them to do that affordably, and I think that is a strength of the show.
Okay.
So, unlike more in step with the good seasons of Netflix Marvel series that happened, The Boys is absolutely in that category of superhero television, where it's like Daredevil season 1 and 3, Luke Cage season 1 for the most part, Jessica Jones 1 and 3, not Iron Fist, Punisher. Those are all like kind of must see superhero television because they rise above the easiest explanations. But and so does The Boys. But The Boys is very deliberate about it from the front. That's the whole point of it. And it just follows this group of people that are taking vengeance out on people. And I know you already put it in your queue, so you already have a good idea of it. But for the audience, if they for some reason don't know what it is at this point, it's just a group of people that are pissed off that superheroes get away with murder. And then you really realize that, yes, it's superheroes, but it's really their representation that helps them get away with murder. And it turns out that the real villain the whole time was capitalism, which is an easy villain to cast in any show.
Absolutely.
So that's the good there.
Okay.
And then if we're gonna do a third one, let's say, well, I'll do Borderlands 3. Okay. My wife and I have been playing Borderlands 3. We played through 1, 2, the pre-sequel, and Tales of Borderlands, and we played through 2 multiple times. I think she's played through it now 3 times. I played through it twice. And she'll inevitably play through this twice because she has another friend that really likes to do it, and it's a good co-op game.
Okay.
Borderlands 3 is real on the nose for a Borderlands sequel, but they took a lot of good things. So the pre-sequel was a bad game. The Borderlands 2.5 or 1.5 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Was kind of a money grab, and overall it was not nearly as satisfying as Borderlands 2. But it had a lot of cool things in it, and Borderlands 3 takes those things and integrates them well into a better game.
Okay.
It's good. It's not great, but it's not good like, oh, it's good, it's not great. It's a 7 out of 10. It's good. Like, it's like an 8.85 out of 10. It's very satisfying to play.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of problems.
Okay.
And it has a lot of changes.
What's your favorite out of the 3?
So far it's still 2.
Okay.
But 3, I haven't beat 3, and I certainly haven't had time to sit with it.
Yeah.
Nor have I gotten to play any of its DLC and everything. Okay. I think the fighting in 3 is better. I think they learned a lot. So it's great. 1 and 2, the gunplay is good in 1, and then 2 improves on it significantly. And then 3, the AI is smarter. It's just more interesting. It's more of a dance. It's more fluid. There's a lot more movement to it.
Yeah.
And everything like that. It's less about getting the right guns, posting up, and becoming durable and doing an optimal strategy, and a lot more about maneuvering and actually like engaging with the combat a bit more.
Okay.
Which is good. But so I would definitely say it's probably got the best combat of any of them.
Okay.
And again, it took a couple things from the pre-sequel. They had a kind of like a jump slam that they called a butt slam.
Yeah.
And a slide move from crouch.
Okay.
That kind of allow you to be more mobile while you're trying to dodge bullets.
Okay.
And so Borderlands 3, it's a definite like none of the like above average editions like the deluxe or the super deluxe, those aren't worth it. I will inevitably buy all the DLC, so I could have gone super deluxe, but I will just buy the DLC. Because
that's
I
just
trust
current DLC.
No, it's a future story DLC.
Oh.
So they released the deluxe version that had a bunch of like aesthetics and some early on guns that you could unlock.
Yeah.
To make the beginning of the game a little bit easier and more fun, and then the super deluxe version was like that plus another very specific set of skins for your guns. and everything, and effects for your grenade blasts. But it also included the first 4, and what will probably be the only 4, story DLC mode releases. Because anything that's not a story DLC, Borderlands releases for free. So if it's just like a raid or like a hunt or things like that, that's all free content. They only charge for story DLCs, and that's good. And if it's anything like the Borderlands 2 story DLCs, it'll be awesome. They did a very good job with their DLCs. In 2, but yeah, it's good. It's worth it. It's definitely worth. It's definitely, especially if you have someone that you play it with locally, like on your couch.
Yeah.
Good. It has a bunch of glitches. It's got some significant performance issues. If you bought a $2,000 PC, it does not matter. It's going to cut down below 50 frames sometimes.
Nice.
Even if you shouldn't, its CPU drags. When you're in the menus, they stutter. In couch co-op mode, you have to go performance 30 frames. There is no other choice on that. But it's fine because you're on a console and you're used to 30 frames anyway.
Exactly.
There's problems. They definitely. It feels. I'm a little bitter about it because they. It's not like Borderlands 3 came out 3 years after Borderlands 2. It's been 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
They've been in a development cycle for at least 6.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that game's been around for a while, franchise-wise.
Yeah, franchise-wise. They've been in a development. And there's a lot of new in this, and it's definitely a much nicer, much prettier, much more impressive game. The lighting is gorgeous. The scenes are gorgeous. It's definitely a step up. Significantly, but it means that there's some things in there that they're allowing to kind of happen, and they can patch over time because they're not game breaking, but they are quality of life slowing. And it's weird because it's like you had time. Yeah. No one was like, "When's that new Borderlands going to come out?" We all knew it was coming out, and it would come out when you were ready to release it, and then you released it, still not quite done yet.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, I bought it anyway, knowing that, so it's on me, really. I could have just waited, but
sure.
Somebody crashed on us the one time in 15 hours, and it didn't lose anything. It crashed on us. We booted back in, and literally it had picked up the thing we did within 2 minutes previous of it crashing.
Nice. So that's not bad at all.
So like that wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people make a big deal, and again, the frame rate stuff I get if you pay a lot of money for a video card and a CPU and an 8-core and everything like that, you expect that to be covering all your problems. And when it doesn't, that's unacceptable. But for console gamers, fuck it, right? Like it's like, oh no, it lags a little bit. Oh, I'm only getting 24 to 28 frames per second in a single player game campaign. Or multiplayer campaign, but in a single story kind of thing. It's not going to be a big deal. But I recommend it. I can't remember. Have you ever played any of the Borderlands games?
I've played about 30 minutes of the first one.
30 minutes. That's
I bought
tough.
the first one,
the first one's
like 30 minutes.
The first one's a little rough, and especially if you're not playing it just with somebody.
Yeah.
Because the joy of Borderlands is like Halo matchmaking.
Yeah.
You know, it's the couch co-op. That's the strong point. My other big complaint on the couch co-op is they took away vertical split screen, and that drives me insane.
Yeah.
We have an 80-inch television.
Yeah.
Vertical split screen is real good on it.
Yeah.
And horizontal split screen is less
rough.
good.
I feel like you're missing something. Can't see as far.
It feels a little squishy.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's technically the same, basically.
Yeah.
It's different, but it's about the same functionality. I don't love it. And so I don't know why they made that choice, because I'm not sure what allowed them to do vertical split screen in the first place, and then why they took it away. But it does make me a little sad, because we literally had to, like, we're like, okay, you log in with your profile and start the game because you're on the left side, and the first player is on the left side of the vertical split screen, and then we get it and it's horizontal split screen, and we're like, well, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, good game, absolutely, with all those complaints, with all those like foibles of the game, the actual gameplay, the actual character classes, the skill trees, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And absolutely worth it, and especially worth making the effort to just find someone that's willing to play through it with you in the same space. Not on 2 machines, not in the same house, but in 2 rooms, on a couch together.
Yeah. Playing
the game like we all did when we were young.
Yeah.
Because it's just satisfying. It's
absolutely.
a satisfying experience.
Yeah. No internet necessary.
No internet necessary, right? Internet goes down, that's fine.
Yeah.
Comcast inevitably goes down like once a day for no apparent reason.
Bluetooth's
Sunny
still
outside, and
enabled.
they're like, "This is your 5 o'clock reminder that your internet is like a duopoly of one bad choice and Comcast."
Yeah.
You're welcome. So
Very true.
So those are my 3 things.
Okay.
Those are my 3 things that I know you haven't been paying attention. I see because I knew you hadn't paid attention to the rules of Borderlands 3, and it's weird because I would think you would like, especially.
I think I would.
Borderlands 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And maybe even Tales, even though it's a point and click adventure. It's an old Telltale game, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even Tales of Borderlands, simply because in 2 is so good, and you blow through so much of the like environment of Borderlands and like the background and the tone and the society of it because you're busy playing the game.
Yeah.
That Tales of Borderlands was like, hey, this is all just story. So enjoy how ridiculous this world is. And then they nailed that.
Yeah.
And then the Tales of Borderlands is canon. So the things that happen in Tales of Borderlands are part of the Borderlands universe.
Nice. Okay.
So those things impacted both the DLC that they released for free for Borderlands 2 as Bridge DLC.
Okay.
And then Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
That all happened in real universe. So that and the characters from those games show up in Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Which is nice. For the completionist in me, that was just like, but yeah, I think you'd like it.
Okay.
Especially because you can play Overwatch. If you can play Overwatch, you'd like to play Borderlands, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Just gotta have friends, Bill. And
true.
you don't have friends.
Nobody lives this far south.
It's so far. It's 30 minutes with no traffic.
It is.
It's 30. It's 45 minutes with no traffic in a Dairy Queen drive-through line.
Very true. Very true.
It's a real specific dig at Dairy Queen, which I will have to now do on Bill and Steve's Excellent Venture every episode.
Every time. Reoccurring.
Me and Dairy Queen got beef. All right, tell me about your tell me about your rhythmic talking and kicks and snares.
The hip hop side.
The hip hop side. Or whatever you want to tell me about. Whatever you think I should know.
We'll go down a couple of them. I think this last month has been really good for hip hop. I don't know if I'd say good for hip hop.
You are
good
about
for
to melt my
kids.
face with everything news-wise.
Yeah.
Because I bought the house, so I've been extra checked out on hip hop because it's like, what's important in my life? The thing that I do creatively? Screw that. Let's talk about casting on this new adaptation. Oh no, Showtime stopped making the Gentleman Bastard series. They stopped. I hope someone good picks it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me.
So some of these kind of segue a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some connections between them.
I hear an artist named Shovzilla recently released an EP.
That's all I'm talking about this whole thing.
All
self-promotion.
News. We're working on something. I hear there's rumors next month. This guy that's just a beast on the microphone. Some used to call him a monster. You said it's good for hip hop kids.
Yes. Yeah. From not like new school hip hop, more like old school hip hop stuff. Or
I'm shocked that you're not dropping some serious new school hip hop.
I know, right?
You're normally
Teriyaki 6ix9ine or whatever. Yeah, it's all about Teriyaki 6ix9ine. I don't know what his real name is.
I don't know
the guy with the rainbow hair. Oh,
number one. I feel like there's
it,
multiple guys with rainbow hair.
There is, but there's one main guy.
There's the main rainbow.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Prime, if you will. No, I've seen internet discussion on Facebook because, of course, we're friends with a lot of hip hop artists and producers, and so I've seen internet discussion about Teriyaki 6ix9ine. It's just I can't click.
Which is not what his name is, but I like that as a name.
Teriyaki 6ix9ine. What? It's like Takeshi or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. But no. So what I wanted to go through was there's a band called Little Brother.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Little Brother?
I have not.
You haven't. Okay. So they're not one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a little while. They were broken up for a little while. They've kind of gone through some changes over time. They came out, we'll say 10 years ago, 12, something like that was when their first CD came out. the big thing with them is they called themselves Little Brother because they were kind of the little brother to Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, that era, like that big boom of hip hop that was. Even Wu-Tang, stuff like that. So they kind of consider themselves the little brothers to that
front half of the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah. Not Jay-Z, not that
not that
time
era.
frame, yes, but not that style, right? They were still hip hop kids. So they released a couple albums way back, like way back. And one of the big things is, and all of the artists in that have branched off and worked on a lot of music since. But the big thing was their producer was Ninth Wonder. Are you familiar with Ninth?
I am familiar with Ninth Wonder, yeah.
So that's kind of the core to that group, was Ninth being in there and making all the beats and kind of really laying down what the soundscape was for that group. So I want to say they did 2 or 3 records all together, and then Ninth ended up splitting away. And a lot of that was because he did a record with Jay-Z. He was in the studio with Jay-Z, made a beat, and that went well.
I believe that's how I heard of him.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. A lot of people, that was kind of the beginning. He did a song with Mary J. Blige. He kind of was starting to dig into these more mainstream artists and really catching probably pretty good checks from it. So for him, it wasn't worth it to work with Little Brother, and I'm sure there was probably some other internal nonsense going on as well, but he kind of left the group. That was kind of the big thing. That was the change. They did another album as Little Brother. Wasn't very good, at least for me. But I like Ninth Wonder, so for me, I was just like, it doesn't hit the way I wanted to. Doesn't have the same
feel, right?
Exactly. So they did that record. Didn't do very good sales either, so I'm guessing a lot of other people didn't like it. And that was kind of the end of Little Brother. And they kind of split ways. They didn't do anything for a good 4, 5, 6 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Ninth obviously went on to work with Rapsody and Merce and like a lot of good artists, not just big artists like Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige, right? Like he really dug in and was like, okay, these are artists that I like, and I'm going to make full projects with them.
Yeah.
He also went on to become a professor at a big school, and I can't remember what school it is, but he's like a professor at a college.
Good.
For music related things. So that's cool. So he's been doing his own thing. This was, Tribe Called Quest, Phife Dawg, he passed away.
Yeah.
That got everybody in Little Brother talking again. And they're like, hey, we're all getting old, so maybe we should do another record. Maybe we should get back together. So they did a what's it called? They all got back together and did a show. They got booked for a show. They played a show, all 3 of them, with Ninth, and he DJ'd for it. And it was like, back together.
Classic,
yeah, right. And there was talk of a new album, but nothing was locked in. But about a month ago, they decided to announce the day before the album came out that an album was coming out. And everybody was like, okay.
Always exciting.
Yeah, it was like, okay, all right. So, Little Brother's back with a new album. It came out. It's good. Ninth Wonder did not make any of the beats on it, though. and there's some kind of internal drama. But the beats on it are very good, and they're very much in the Ninth Wonder realm. And the big reason why that is because the people that produced it, the main producer that did all the beats, is actually a part of Ninth Wonder's production team.
Oh, okay.
So he has a team, and I can't remember what their name is, but it's like 3 or 4 producers that pretty much take on projects, and they'll just all produce stuff on it. But this Little Brother album comes out, right? And it's like, okay, Little Brother's back. Ninth Wonder posts about it on Instagram or on Twitter or whatever. He's just like, hey, this new record's out, go listen to it, right? So it's like, okay, so there's at least professional courtesy,
exactly, and like reasonable acquaintanceship.
Exactly, yeah. So they went on, and the album's really good. Like the overall album is really good. It's very grown in what the content is and the structure, and all the beats are really good on it. So everything meshes really well. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Little Brother record, but for the fact that they haven't done anything in a long time, it was pretty good.
It's a good comeback.
Yeah.
To doing the job.
Exactly.
Especially, as you said, since they had an album that didn't feel like it fit. So it was like, did we lose that moment? They weren't just returning to the comfortable jacket that they'd walked away from.
Exactly.
They had to refine that and undo things, which is important when any artist.
Exactly.
It's It's like when you go see the Misfits live and they're garbage. It has nothing to do with it. It just reminded me of it so much.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, the Misfits with the original thing. And I'm like, I don't think y'all have heard Danzig sing any time recently. He is not good at it anymore. And that is 100% true. So I'm glad to hear that little brother is doing this. And I will inevitably put it on a YouTube playlist and steal it or Spotify it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth it. It's worth listening through, just from a hip hop side of things. The funny thing about it, though, is about a week later, they did an interview with the MCs in the group, and they brought up, they're like, well, why isn't Ninth on this? Like, Ninth should have been on this record. And I guess what had happened was they were working on the record. He was part of it. He was giving them beats. They were getting beats they didn't like. And they didn't want to say that they didn't like the beats or that he wasn't giving them good beats, but they were just kind of like, we don't really like these beats. And they were talking about, releasing an album, touring, doing, the whole promo run with it. And Ninth basically was like, well, I don't want to DJ for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, like that's not, I have things, I'm busy doing other things. And he's like, I'll DJ for like the bigger festivals. I'll show up for those. But like if you go on tour, you should just have your current DJ that you use and have that be your DJ. So they basically were like, no, we're just not going to do this record with you. Gave all the beats back to them, started over. And they're like, okay. So I don't think it comes from like a bad blood area.
I just think and it's perfectly reasonable that like a decade later, not only did they personality wise stop having the perfect gel to work together, but just musically, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
As you're well aware as a producer, it can be quite hard to adapt beats to various different styles of MC.
That's true.
And Ninth Wonder might be working in X headspace, and they might be in Y. And so it's nice. It's nice that they can at least be adults and cordial about it.
Absolutely.
And it's good that they're like, this isn't working, and then they found someone that still felt right.
Yeah, exactly.
They found people that still felt like they belonged with and were in the spirit of.
Exactly. Without going down the wrong path with beats, because that's always an issue.
It's like
they'd already done it once.
What's I use it as an example. It's the hip hop albums that were the hip hop album. I think it was just one where a bunch of people took Black Eyed Peas songs, or like Black Eyed Peas like wrote the instrumentation for it, and then they had a bunch of different rappers on it.
Oh, you're talking about Black Keys.
Black Keys, or not Black Eyed Peas, Black Keys.
Yeah. I don't know what that's called, but I've listened to it.
I've listened. It's not and it was such an obvious choice when you listen to Black Keys. You're like, you could make some grimy hip hop beats from that.
Yeah.
And then the thing came out and it wasn't good, and it was like, well, this isn't good because the right people weren't working on it with the Black Keys.
Yeah.
And deciding like this goes with this goes this way, and so that can lambaste an even obvious success. Again, you'd probably say, oh, the MCs from Ninth Wonder working, or MCs of Ninth Wonder working again.
Yeah.
Little brother, that's just automatically going to be good. And
it might not have been
because it's not like Ninth Wonder is the same guy they were
exactly
9 years ago. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and that kind of segues into the next record that came out about probably just a couple days later, maybe a week later. Rhapsody dropped her new record called Eve. Who is Rhapsody, her biggest kind of cheerleader, I guess, in a way. The biggest person that's really pushing her is Ninth Wonder. So all of her other albums, he's produced most of them, if not all of them. This new record, he only made a couple beats on it. So he's a little bit more hands off on this record. But again, his little production crew did a lot of the other.
Okay, so
it's all within team.
It's in the family.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it all meshes well. All of the styles are blend very well. Ninth, his beat that he put on it was a Phil Collins sample of what's that song? In the Air Tonight or whatever. Which is amazing.
It's amazing, but it's also a little obvious, right?
It is. Well, supposedly the story behind it is that he was talking to somebody and they wanted them to show him they wanted him to show them how he makes beats. So he jokingly grabbed that sample and made a beat out of it. And then everybody was like, well, this should just be a song.
This should just be a song. Because of course it should. Because Phil Collins' Air Tonight, in the Air Tonight, and it's fucking... It's iconic as a thing. Everyone knows its breakdown.
Yeah.
Everyone loves its breakdown. Its breakdown is way too late in the song for how popular that song is.
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting for like 2.5 minutes to get to the drum breakdown of.
Oh yeah, of course. Which is what he samples into it.
Like, well, of course he does. That's what hip hop is for.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty good. Overall, it's probably my favorite record from her.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever heard Rapsody. I've heard.
I think you'd be hit or miss with her.
I know about Rapsody.
Yeah,
because she is very popular enough in the circles
of
social media.
She is absolutely.
But that I'm in. But I don't think I've ever actually taken time to listen to her, and I don't think anyone's ever. Anyone, and by anyone I mean you and like 3 other people that recommend hip hop to me.
Yeah.
Have ever been like, Steve, you need to get into this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, normally I wouldn't. Like honestly, her other records, there's nothing that's really stuck with me.
Yeah.
This new record though is on point. Like she's a lot more natural with what she's doing. She's a lot more of a character in her voice.
Mm-hmm.
More just like yelling and just being all over the place, less being like, I'm just a rapper, I'm just going to rap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably her best record that I've heard. It makes me want to go back and sit down and listen through her other records again, because maybe I'll have a new ear for, her style and just be like, okay, maybe I do like these.
Maybe you'll pick up things that you didn't notice the first time around.
Exactly.
They didn't stand out as much.
Exactly.
So now you're like, oh, that.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I like that.
Yeah. It's good. And the theme of it is all themed off of like strong African-American women, like in just culture in general. So all the song titles are named after.
Well, of course, that terrifies me, but no, does not terrify.
But yeah, no, overall, record's really great. Yeah, it's all like the whole team that did it is like really solid. I want to say the guy that produced or the guy that mixed and mastered all of the Jay-Z records did her record. So like, obviously mixing and mastering is great on it. Yeah, just worth listening to, I would say for sure. And then my last one, which is a song that came out yesterday, which is kind of crazy. It's another one nobody knew.
That's real current.
It's real current.
That's real current, Bill.
Yeah.
I can't be on that yesterday game.
Yesterday. Yeah.
You know what I was doing yesterday? What was I doing yesterday? I was playing Dungeons and Dragons yesterday.
Yeah.
The most hip hop thing,
of course,
that I could play. Dungeons and Dragons.
So
I was playing Dungeons and Dragons yesterday.
So Starr.
Okay, okay.
Which one of the members has passed away multiple years ago, so it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
The rapper, right? So they released a new song that was obviously, recorded a while back. It's decent. I like the structure of it. I was kind of hoping that there'd be an album around it. Like maybe there was more material and they were going to roll something out. Right? Yeah, exactly. So far, it's only been a single.
Mm-hmm.
The single features J. Cole on it, which I'm hit or miss with J. Cole. I don't dislike J. Cole, but he's not my favorite.
Yeah.
He's definitely the weaker MC on the song, which is kind of funny because in theory, he's a better rapper.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe they didn't want him to outshine. So they were like, you know what?
Keep it cash.
Yeah.
Keep it cash.
Yeah.
Well, you never know, too. It's like great rappers hit bad songs all day long.
Of course.
And bad rappers occasionally hit good songs.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's me.
Yeah.
Bad rappers, bad songs.
It's around the board, all the way around.
Oh, across the mediocre at best.
Yeah.
But like, no, I agree. They probably, I would imagine, you don't really like as cruel as it is artistically, you don't really want your feature to just blow you out of the water unless that's the point of the song.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you get which J. Cole, again, good MC, not like legacy MC, right? Like
not yet.
Not
he
yet.
Could be.
Maybe.
He could be.
Yeah.
For some people, I know he is already. For me, not so much. But at the same time, I think he still stands with like a Kendrick Lamar level.
Yeah.
Different, but on that level. I think Kendrick's more of a legend at this point already. But Cole could release something that could put him over once he finds it.
I never know how to approach Kendrick Lamar fandom.
Yeah.
Because this is going to get a little edgy.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, we're going to talk about race. You're welcome. Because when suburban white culture gets excited about something,
Yeah.
it makes me unclear on where its levels are in media anymore.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of that obviously on my face. I'm a suburban white guy.
Mhm.
And I don't put myself separate from the sort of I'm very much a casual hip hop fan.
Yeah.
I don't separate myself from that. But when I sit down and I listen from what I know about writing, from what I know about literature courses, from what I know about poetry courses,
Mhm.
from what I know about the music that I've been doing since I was a teenager.
Mhm.
When I sit and I get someone, I'm like, this person is just knocking it out of the park.
Mhm.
And then I kind of look to see if other more knowledgeable in the field specific of hip hop are doing that. I never know how much of that wave might be. It's like, well, suburban white culture got real excited about this kid for a while.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like Kendrick. I like specific Kendrick songs a lot more than others.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I like that he does his thing though, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of an artist that's just like, I'm just gonna do what I want and
Yeah.
you're either gonna like it or not. I don't care.
Exactly.
But I feel like I'm always concerned that it's like, is that legacy going to be something that it would exist within a vacuum separated from sort of like the shine of the outside culture being like, oh, this is a guy we can all talk about, and it
Mhm.
makes us seem like we're deep hip hop heads. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
gatekeep
Yeah.
anyone who wouldn't know a title of a Kendrick Lamar song but legitimately likes him a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to acknowledge that sometimes there's a lot of people that are just like, yeah, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, and maybe they've even bought an album, but they like never listen to it.
Yeah.
They just do it as part of the well, this is the hot artist right now, and then
Yeah.
they go back like myself and they listen to just like Ludacris's old '90s tracks, and they're like, youth, old '90s and aughts tracks, and being
Yeah.
like, oh, back when I had hopes and dreams. But yeah, and so I always worry about that with Kendrick Lamar. And I don't with J. Cole because I don't get that with J. Cole.
No.
J. Cole kind of just drives it home, and people like J. Cole, and they're like, yeah, J. Cole's super dope in a very kind of like
Yeah.
normal artist kind of way
Yeah.
that hasn't had that like super wave of it's like, is it hip for a white kid that listens to hip hop to say that they like you a lot?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And some of them are being honest, and others might not be.
Yeah.
I
Well,
know
I
I
think-
was that way when I
I
was
think
younger.
with Kendrick, the big difference is that he's in the realm of legendary, right?
Yeah.
But our biggest issue is that all of our legendary rappers that we consider legendary all died,
Yeah.
right? And that's part of their legend.
Yeah. And so
And
you
he
can't.
hasn't, right? So,
How dare he
but
survive?
if you think about if he were to die, right?
Oh yeah,
It would be
you're
like,
right.
oh,
You're
it
right.
would-
People would be like
but-
Kendrick Lamar, great
Yeah.
mind of his time,
Absolutely, yeah,
coming up with those things, right?
yeah. So it's hard for us to do that without him dying.
Almost like if
he still has a chance to mess it up though, right? Like look at DMX,
right. No, look
one
at
of the greatest.
look at Ice Cube, right? Like
Ice Cube is great, but he went
he wasn't
a weird
ever one of
way
the
with it.
greatest. And
No.
but like but like look at Ice Cube, where it's also like your success within whatever it is almost automatically depletes your memory as a great artist because
Yeah.
the way that you become a legacy, the way that you become a legend,
Mhm.
I think in a lot of art is by keeping a bit of the mystery about you not being a normal person.
Yeah.
Because if you know this from working with and interacting with this, we know this from other artists we talk to and the artists they talk to. Unfortunately, no matter how fan-damn-tastic someone is, brilliant on the microphone, brilliant in production,
Mhm.
guess what? They're a normal human being, and
Yeah.
so I think that's hard for people to think about because
Sure.
when that's revealed, it loses their mystery. They think that this
Yeah.
person must be, they think that this person must have been something other human or unlikely to come again. And there are those artists,
Mhm.
out there. But a lot of the greats were also just being like, yeah, and it's like, what's your favorite food? Kraft mac and cheese, because I grew up on it and it's delicious, right? Like, if it were with the social access of now, it's like, oh, there's Tupac getting down on a SpongeBob marathon, and be like,
Yeah,
and you'd
sure.
be like, all right, there's Slick Rick just sitting down reviewing Game of Thrones episodes on this entertainment magazine sites because he thinks it's super dope. And it doesn't dismiss the accomplishment. It just it depletes the mystery, the bigger than life legend. And so yeah, that's what I think when people are like, oh, it breaks the thing. It's like it doesn't do anything to the old things that they did. It just means that you don't think that they're also like beyond cool. They're not James Dean anymore.
Exactly.
But yeah, okay, so Gangstar, new single, or new individual track, we should say.
Yeah.
J. Cole guest, good song.
Yeah.
Good song. Hopefully more. Hopefully it does well enough that they're like, oh, we do have a lot of B-sides and things we never released. Let's put that together.
Yeah.
And there's a market for that still.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gangstar, geez, early, before I even thought about being an MC, they were Gangstar was one of the acts that like helped me into hip hop. Because I was like, yeah, I like some hip hop, but I'm not really that big of a fan of it. I don't really care about it that much.
Yeah.
And then Gangstar happened. Gangstar and then a bunch of Mos Def. And then because they're the same. Those are the same acts pretty much. Exactly. And
well, I think you're mixing up. You're thinking of Black Star.
No, I'm not thinking Black Star.
Okay.
I'm specifically I could say Black Star as well for the Mos Def stuff.
Yeah. Definitely.
No, I was being facetious about Mos Def being like the other hip hop. Because it's like, you know from our discussions, it's like, of course, Rhyme Torrents.
Yeah.
And of course, for me, more De La Soul, less Tribe Called Quest. But and everything like that, and other hip hop that I was familiar with that I started listening to seriously. Yeah. But I always go, and then there was Mos Def, which is just kind of hard to listen to hip hop, but if you gotta really like words, he's got a lot of words. Him and Bus Driver. Those are my two stands right there. But yeah. So that's good. You taught me things. The Sands of Time
has finished.
Well, it got stuck, so it's not finished. Yeah. But it got stuck. We're close. I think we were close to it.
Yeah.
You would mention that you already had The Boys on the watch list. Do prioritize that.
Yeah.
Do prioritize Undone, though. You might want to watch it with it might be a good show to watch with your wife.
Yeah, I probably would. Probably both
just because it's interesting, it's deeper.
She would probably like The Boys too. So yeah,
almost anyone would like The Boys does touch on some content that's kind of hard to watch.
Yeah,
because it touches on harassment and sexual assault. It touches on some other weird things. But I don't think it doesn't like revel in it. The comic revels in it.
Okay.
It doesn't revel in it. It doesn't.
So they were smart about it.
They were smart about it. They're like, we're still gonna have these. These are the issues the comic's about.
Yeah.
And same for Undone. And then for you, just I don't know, just maybe get one of our friends that hasn't played it, that has heard me talk about Borderlands all the time, to pick up Borderlands 2. It's super cheap digitally.
Okay. Yeah.
You can play it online together. You can play it on the couch.
Yeah.
And just kind of knock it out.
I did just get a Switch today.
Did just get a Switch. I don't think Borderlands is on Switch.
That's fine. I'm gonna play other games that are not Borderlands.
That are not Borderlands. Are you gonna play Dragon Quest 11, which is coming out for the Switch on September 27th?
Yes,
that seems right up your alley. Are you gonna play Dragon's Dogma, the re-release of the 2012 Capcom RPG hit?
Are all of your Switch games they start with dragons?
Panzer Dragoon, the re-release that's coming out in 2020 on the Switch. Dragon Quest Builders, the Minecraft-like Dragon Quest. I only know dragons. Only dragons. Spyro, if she's a dragon, so it counts.
Did they re-release that on Switch?
I don't know if that's on Switch.
I know they did on Sony.
I know it's on Sony.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on Switch. I hope it is. It would be perfect for it.
It would be.
But yeah, no. For me, the Switch games they're coming. Are you going to play Overwatch on Switch? That's the question.
I think that's why I got the Switch.
Realistically? I will play Overwatch with you on Switch.
No, we just got to get Shubs to do it.
We just got to get Shubs to do it.
I asked her, and she said no.
She said no. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to be like, sorry, we're playing on Switch. And she'll be like, ah, and then do it.
My plan is to bring my Switch to work with me. So if we want to get into some Overwatch during
That's
work.
fine. I don't have a job.
Yeah,
so I have nothing but time for this. I
Okay.
really need you to not have a job too, so that we have more time
Soon.
to
one day.
inform the public of our
I mean, if I
importance.
play enough Switch at work, I think I can get into that
You get into that
real quick.
It's true.
Without even
true.
trying. I'm forced to do it.
You'll be almost a natural for
Pretty
unemployment.
much.
But yeah, I think this was a good Bill and Steve's Excellent Adventure episode 1. I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think we
Solid.
accomplished our goals. Our friendship is a little bit stronger.
Yeah. We'll probably never do another episode. First and last.
First and last.
Season finale.
This is like the Universal horror movie monsters connected meta universe thing that they tried to do with the Mummy reboot and Tom Cruise, where they're like, "This is gonna be big." No, first and last. No, I'm sure the next episode will be very different from this.
Yeah.
I'm excited that this will go up on the internet and be like, hey, you want to hear me and Bill talk for an hour about things you probably already know about or don't care about?
Yeah, exactly.
We have a very specific intersect of fan base that would be like all 1,000 people that are like, these are all relevant interests to me.
Yeah.
That game, those 2 shows, a superhero one and a sad one, thank you. And then 3 hip-hop acts that are all older or old-ish.
Nothing new.
Nothing new.
All new projects, but nothing new
Nothing new.
artist-wise.
I challenge you for the next episode to give me someone that it's easy to find someone I haven't heard about that is new, that you're like, this person.
I can do that.
This person. And I will give you something that is unrelated to
Only things about Grand Theft Auto. No,
I can talk to you about that. I feel like you know enough about that.
I'm out of the loop though.
But yeah, no, I'm like, I can do 30 minutes on GTA news. And Rockstar in general.
Only their newest DL content.
Oh, for the online?
Yeah.
Fine.
I follow them on social media, so I see it all.
You see it all, but you don't play it.
It's constant.
Their online game is a strong example of how you get a community that no one was prepared to be a long-lasting thing.
It's still one of the top-selling games at this point, right?
Yeah, it's a very popular... It and Elder Scrolls Online, they're like quietly just killing the game with millions of users, regular updates, satisfied communities.
But like still sales, too.
And money. Yeah, they both make a lot of money. And you look at it, it's like, okay, so it's doable, all of your games as a service things. Why can't you figure this out?
Yeah.
Why? Well, it's because you keep taking properties that have no business being this and then making them into this. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what an MMO is, and GTA, the moment someone played 20 hours of GTA 3, they're like, this would be fun to do with a friend. and then over the years, they're like, yeah, that still is true. So we'll just do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we need a sign off for Bill and Steve's Excellent Adventure.
Just turn the TV off.
Just turn the TV off.
Yeah. Touchpad power button.
Is it
input? No.
Input?
It's close though.
What if I hit menu?
No.
No, okay, I'm gonna go back to input. You're right. I'm just gonna power it off.
Boom. End of episode.
End of episode.